Did you know that some debts you've been paying, maybe even for years, might no longer be yours to pay? Not because of a trick and not because you're skipping out on responsibility, but because the law says so. For many older adults, discovering this is both a shock and a relief. Picture this. You've been sending money faithfully to collectors for years, even giving up on small joys like a favorite cafe visit or a weekend with grandkids, thinking you have no choice. Then one day you learn the debt had no legal standing for years. Right now, across the country, thousands of seniors are still parting with portions of their limited retirement income to cover debts that are, in the eyes of the law, unenforceable. The most troubling part? Many collectors know it. They call anyway, write anyway, and use language designed to frighten you into paying something you don't owe. Today, we're going to go through 7 specific types of debts that legal experts warn seniors not to keep paying once certain conditions are met. These are debts where your rights outweigh the threats, even if the collector on the phone tries to convince you otherwise. You'll learn why these debts lose their legal power, the common traps that keep older adults paying anyway, and what practical steps you can take if someone is harassing you about them. Each section is designed to help you trade fear for understanding and guilt for empowerment. If you've been lying awake wondering how debt will affect your retirement, pause, breathe. You're about to learn 6 truths that could change the way you manage your money forever. Before we begin, please give this video a like. Your support helps us keep creating daily content here on Elderly Active Life, where we focus on protecting your finances, health, and dignity. Let's start. Debt number 1, old medical bills that have passed their legal limit. Medical bills can be some of the most overwhelming pieces of mail to open. Often, they come during a time when you were sick, recovering from surgery, or dealing with a medical emergency. For seniors on fixed incomes, even a single hospital visit can leave behind a bill large enough to disrupt daily life for years. Here's the fact most people don't know. Medical debt doesn't last forever in a legal sense. Every state sets a statute of limitations, the time limit during which a creditor can take you to court to force payment. That might be as short as 3 years in some states, or up to 6 or 7 in others. After that time passes, the debt becomes legally uncollectible. Yes, collectors may still call, and they may send intimidating letters, but they can't win in court. They can't garnish your Social Security. And under federal law, those benefits are protected from most creditors. Example, meet Agatha Rourke, a 76-year-old widow from Ohio. For almost a decade, she sent $200 a month to cover a hospital bill from a surgery she'd had long ago. She cut back on groceries, skipped her favorite Sunday lunches with friends, and even postponed getting her prescription glasses updated, all to keep up with payments. Then, at a free senior legal clinic, she discovered that her state statute of limitations had expired 6 years earlier. All those years of sacrifice had been unnecessary. That one conversation didn't just save her money, it restored her sense of dignity. If you're still paying on old hospital or doctor bills, especially ones from many years ago, ask the collector, what's the date of the last payment or activity on this debt? If it's older than your state's limit, you may already be free. This isn't about ducking responsibility. It's about protecting seniors from unnecessary financial harm. Once you understand your rights, you'll see that not every bill deserves to take a piece of your retirement. Debt number 2, expired credit card debt. Credit cards often feel like a safety net, a way to get through the month when expenses run high. But the balances can linger long after you stop using the card. Just like medical debt, credit card debt also comes with a statute of limitations. Once the clock runs out, the lender loses the right to sue you for the money. The problem is, collectors know many seniors aren't aware of this. They call, send letters, and apply pressure, hoping you'll pay anyway. The most dangerous trap? Restarting the clock. In most states, if you make even a small payment or admit over the phone that the debt is yours, you reset the statute of limitations. Suddenly, a debt that was legally unenforceable becomes active again, and the collector regains the right to sue. Example, meet Llewellyn Keaton, a 78-year-old retired bus driver from Kansas. He'd stopped using a certain credit card nearly 16 years earlier, but the calls never stopped. The collectors claimed he could be sued, and even hinted they could take part of his Social Security. Feeling cornered, Llewellyn thought about paying just to make them stop. Instead, he visited a nonprofit legal aid office. They confirmed that the debt was long past the statute of limitations and the threats were empty. Llewellyn stopped paying, the calls slowed, and his Social Security stayed safe. If you have old credit card bills, know your rights before you speak or send money. The companies had years to take legal action. If they miss that chance, the power is gone. If you're finding these tips helpful, type number 2 in the comments and make sure you're subscribed to Elderly Active Life so you don't miss valuable information like this. Debt number 3, certain private student loans. Many people believe student loans follow you forever, but that's only partly true. Federal student loans have strict rules and rarely go away. But some private student loans, especially older ones, are also subject to statutes of limitations. Once that period passes without payment or collection, lenders often lose the ability to sue. Also, if the borrower passes away, most private loans cannot be collected from surviving family unless that family member co-signed the loan. This is a huge relief to seniors who worry about leaving debt to their children or grandchildren. Example: Dolores Whitaker, 83, took out a private loan decades ago for a teaching certification she never used. She spent years sending in payments, even when money was tight, because she was afraid her granddaughter would inherit the debt. After a conversation with a legal aid attorney, she learned 2 things. Her loan was long past the statute of limitations, and her granddaughter had no legal obligation to pay it even if it hadn't been. That day, Dolores stopped the payments and redirected her funds toward home repairs she'd been putting off for years. Knowing this can free you from unnecessary guilt and protect your family from worry. Debt number 4, informal personal loans from long ago. These are debts between friends, neighbors, or relatives. They're often the hardest to carry emotionally because they're tied to personal relationships. But legally, if the loan wasn't formalized in writing, or if it's far beyond your state statute of limitations, there's no way for the lender to enforce it in court. Example: Marvin Dillard, 80, borrowed $60 from a neighbor in 1975 to repair his lawnmower. The neighbor passed away decades ago, yet Marvin still felt ashamed every time he thought about it. His son eventually explained that the debt was not only uncollectible, but that it had no legal standing for decades. Marvin cried with relief, realizing he had carried this unnecessary burden for over 40 years. Forgiving yourself is just as important as understanding the law. Carrying old, uncollectible debts only steals joy from your remaining years. Debt number 5, expired medical debts, again, but older. Some old medical debts resurface after decades when hospitals sell them to collection agencies. These agencies use aggressive tactics, banking on the fact that seniors were taught to pay every bill. But once these debts pass the statute of limitations, no court can enforce them, and no one can touch your Social Security. Example: Jeanette Hollis, 81, got a frightening notice about a $7,800 bill from 1999. The collector implied she could lose her home. A senior rights counselor assured her that the debt was legally dead and her home and benefits were safe. Jeanette went from panic to peace in a single phone call. Focus on your current health, not punishing yourself for medical costs that time and law have already erased. Debt number 6, utility bills after death. Many seniors worry that unpaid utility bills will fall to their children after they pass away. The truth: unless their name is on the account, that doesn't happen. The company can close the account, but they can't go after relatives for the balance. Example: Leonard Paxton, 79, feared his kids would inherit his overdue water bill. A local attorney explained that once he passed, the account would be closed and the debt would not transfer. That knowledge gave Leonard peace in his final years, allowing him to focus on time with family. Debt number 7, certain old payday loans. Payday loans are often marketed as quick, easy solutions for emergency cash. But the reality is that they can trap borrowers, including seniors, in a cycle of high fees and constant renewals. What many don't know is that, just like other consumer debts, payday loans are subject to statutes of limitations. Once the time limit passes, the lender loses the legal right to sue you for repayment. Collectors may still attempt to intimidate you, sometimes even threatening arrest, which is illegal for unpaid debt in the U.S. They may claim they can take money directly from your bank account without your permission. In many states, once the loan is past the statute of limitations, these threats are completely empty, but they rely on fear to get you to pay. Example, Orrin Calloway, 74, took out a $500 payday loan 14 years ago when his refrigerator broke down. He tried to repay it, but fell behind when unexpected medical bills arrived. Over the years, the debt was sold to multiple collectors, each one calling with more aggressive tactics. One even claimed he could be picked up if he didn't pay. Finally, a legal aid worker explained that not only was the debt far beyond the statute of limitations, but no one can be arrested for owing a payday loan. Orrin closed his old checking account, stopped the payments, and the harassment finally ended. If you've been contacted about an old payday loan, ask for the date of the last payment. If it's older than your state's limit, you may not have to pay. And remember, no legitimate collector can threaten arrest for consumer debt. Final thoughts. Aging comes with enough challenges without carrying debts that no longer exist. From old medical bills and expired credit cards to handshake loans from decades ago. The law protects seniors more than most realize. Yet many still pay out of fear, guilt, or confusion. You have rights. Knowing them can give you financial freedom and emotional peace. These years should be for dignity, rest, and family, not paying bills the law says you don't owe. Please share in the comments one thing you learned today. And if you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and share to help other seniors protect themselves.